Nobody tells you this part. They tell you about the sleepless nights. They tell you about the cost. They tell you your life as you know it is over. And they're right. But they leave something out. Something that doesn't have a clean name. Something that hits you on a random Tuesday afternoon. Watching your kid try to ride a bike for the first time. And suddenly you can't breathe. Because you are 6 years old again. The street is the same street. The fear is the same fear. And someone is running behind you, holding the seat, saying, "Don't let go, don't let go." And you realize, for the first time in maybe 20 years, that someone held you like that once. I want to talk about something people don't say out loud. Not the cute stuff. Not the milestone photos. Not the they grow up so fast thing. Everyone says at birthday parties. I want to talk about what happens inside you when you raise a child. Because here's what I didn't expect. I thought having a kid meant my life would shrink. Less freedom. Less sleep. Less of me. And in some ways, yeah, that's real. But something else happened. Something I didn't see coming. My life got bigger. Not louder. Not just busy. Though, yeah, it got busier. Bigger. Like a room in my memory that I thought was locked. So I started opening up again. Door by door. Year by year. The bike thing was the first time I noticed it. She was 5, almost 6. And she wanted to ride without training wheels. I walked out to the driveway with every intention of being calm. Then she got on. She wobbled. She grabbed the handlebars too tight, the way you do when you're terrified. And she looked back at me with this face. "You better not let go." I was gone. I was back on my own street. I don't even remember which summer. I remember the concrete being hot. I remember the sound of the chain. I remember the exact feeling of not knowing if I was still being held or if I was already flying on my own. That feeling lives in your body somewhere. You don't know it's still there until your kid needs it from you. And then it comes back. Clean. Whole. Untouched. Like it was waiting. There's a pool near our house. Community pool. Loud. Smells like chlorine and sunscreen. Completely ordinary. First time we took her. He was 3, maybe 3.5. He stepped to the edge and looked at the water like it was the ocean. Like it was the first large body of water any human being had ever seen. And I was there, trying to hold the swim floaties, trying to put sunscreen on someone who would not stop moving. And somewhere in that chaos, I smelled it. That specific smell of a summer afternoon at a public pool. That specific quality of light. Late afternoon, golden, blinding off the water. And I was 10 years old. I was so 10 years old. Jumping off the edge. That terrifying, wonderful half second before you hit the water. That feeling of summer being infinite. Of the afternoon having no end. I don't know when I stopped feeling that. Somewhere in my 20s, probably. Summer just became hot. Pools became something you go to on vacation, maybe. But she gave it back to me. Without knowing she was giving me anything. This one is quieter. You're putting a kid to sleep. Or you're in the car. Or you're just somewhere unremarkable. and you find yourself singing something. A song from when you were small. A song you didn't know you still knew. And it comes out whole. Every word, every melody, and you're singing it to your child. But you're also hearing it. The way your mother sang it. The patience in her at the end of a long day. When she had 100 other things to do. And still, she sat with you. She sang it again. As many times as it took. You never thought about that when you were small. Why would you? But now you're the one. Singing it for the 4th time in a row. Because they asked. And you understand. Not just that your parents loved you. But how they loved you. The specific texture of it. The quiet, unglamorous daily weight of it. And that lands differently. When you're the one holding the song. Let me be honest. Before kids, I was not a theme park person. Crowds. Overpriced everything. People in costumes in the middle of summer. And it's all of those things. But I stood there. My kid's first time. And I watched her face the moment she saw it. Just for a second. Before she said anything. Just the moment of seeing it. And I thought, this is why people do this. Not for the photo. Not for the memory you'll have. For that face. For being the person standing next to someone. When the world opens up a little wider for them. And then I thought, my parents must have felt this. Standing next to me somewhere. On some trip I've half forgotten. Looking at my face. While I looked at something beautiful. Feeling exactly this. This specific joy that isn't about you at all. Which, if you've spent most of your adult chasing things that are about you, is strangest, quietest relief. The school years hit different. Because now you're on the other side. You watch them sit down with a pencil and stare at a test. And you remember the exact dread of that. The way time slows down. The way the ceiling looks. Or trying to remember something. You want to tell them. It doesn't matter as much as it feels like it does right now. But you remember, at that age it does. It really does. So you don't say that. You say, you've got this. You say, I believe in you. And then, later, graduation. You watch them cross a stage. That looks so ordinary from the outside, and so enormous from where they're standing. And you remember crossing one yourself. That feeling of an ending that somehow also felt like a beginning. The strange lightness of it. And you cry. Not because it's sad. Because you know exactly what they're feeling. And it is so good. And you are so glad that this moment exists in a human life. And then, one day, if you're lucky enough to get there, they've grown and you're at a table together. Some dinner, some occasion, someone fills their glass and yours, and you raise them toward each other for the first time. Not parent and child, just two people. Two people who know each other in a way that can't quite be explained. Because you've been watching each other. They're 2 decades. Through every version of each other. And now you're just sitting here. Having dinner. Like adults. You take a drink. You look at them. And you think, I cannot believe I get to know you. Not I love you. You've said that 10,000 times. I cannot believe I get to know you. That's different. I'm not here to tell you to have kids. That's not what this is. This is just something I've been thinking of. How we move through our lives. Always forward. Always to the next thing. And then this person arrives who needs you to go back. Back to the bike. Back to the pool. Back to the songs. Back to the fear before the test. Back to the beginning of everything. And you go. You go back. And it's all still there. Your whole life. Preserved. Waiting for someone who needed you to carry them through it. And somewhere in the carriage, you get to live it again. Not the same way. Better. Because this time, you know how it ends. You don't get younger. You get a second chance.